Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio. And I'm going to be honest, I never really expected to say this. But today, we're going to be looking at Granbull. And you see, the thing is, Granbull's like, it's never good. It's never good. I'm not sure there's ever been a good Granbull card. Granbull was very much a joke with me and my friends. With Heart Gold Soul Silver, I kept buying pack after pack and pulling Granbull after Granbull, and they all suck. Like, I don't mean to be mean about any particular Pokemon. I'm sure as a Pokemon, Granbull's lovely. But when was the last time anyone got excited about a Granbull card? What I like to do sometimes, when I'm talking about a Pokemon I don't talk about so much, is I like to go onto my YouTube channel and have a bit of a search just on my channel to see how many videos I've made about a particular Pokemon. And when I search for Granbull, this channel has no content that matched Granbull. Well, of course it didn't. All the cards suck. But I like this new one, ladies and gentlemen. So let's have a gander, shall we? It's a fairy Pokemon. It's got 130 HP, which is nice because it does leave you out of range from stuff like Zoroark, although to be fair, you do have resistance to darkness, being a fairy Pokemon, so you would be out of range anyway, but something like a Golisopod won't be getting a one-hit KO. To be blunt, it's much better to have 130 HP than 120 HP, so yay! That's pretty good. It's weak to metal, but you got 130 HP. The real calculation I'm looking for here. Does Duskmane Necrozma get a one-hit KO with its first attack? The answer is no. I'm happy. Retreat cost of 3 is expected, but it sucks because Floatstone has rotated, so that's a bit of a pain. And it's a fairy Pokemon, which means you're going to be able to use Mina to accelerate an energy, which is quite nice if you feel so inclined. It just allows you to search your deck for a fairy energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon, which is pretty cool. And then it means you're hitting weakness against Dragon Pokemon, and let's face it, Rayquaza's really good at the moment. Although Ultra Necrozma has proper job fallen out of favour, it really wouldn't surprise me to see it make a comeback. It's got so much potential with Malamar. So the basics here do actually look pretty good, but there's got to be a reason to play this, and there totally is. It is a hugely risky attack. 1 fairy energy. 30 damage. If you have no cards in hand, this attack does 160 damage. That's phenomenal! 160 for 1 energy is great! Really, really great. I mean, I keep talking about this, and I'm sorry, it is one of the recurring themes at the moment, because there is a huge difference between hitting for 160 and, say, hitting for 150. So if you're hitting for 150, then you've got all of your, well, not all, but the vast majority of non-GXs, your Solgaleo, Prism Star, your Empoleon, etc., they generally go up to 160. Yeah, my boy Mamoswine's sitting there rocking a beefy 180, and, you know, Wailord's sitting there just being like, 180, what a loser, I've got 220. But most non-GXs have 160 or less. Then you add a choice band, you're up to 190, so you've got something like Rayquaza. Or you can drop a Shrine of Punishment and you're up to 170, and that'll get you Tapu Lele. Or you can use both of them and you're up to 200, and there's stuff like Lycanroc. But as I always say with Shrine of Punishment, and I know I talk about it a lot, but like I keep saying, this will be a feature in every non-GX deck from now until the rotation, so get used to it. I mean, especially with Prism Star Stadiums coming out, which are crazy good, you basically got to play Stadiums nowadays. Every non-GX deck is going to play Shrine of Punishment. Yeah, maybe not everyone, but the vast majority. And the thing about Shrine of Punishment is this. It doesn't have to do it all in one go. Yes, it puts 1 damage counter on each EX and GX between turns. But that's 1 damage counter after your turn. 1 damage counter after your opponent's turn, then 1 damage counter after your turn. So let's say there's something like a Zoroark, where you're only actually hitting 200. I say only, just for 1 energy. 160 plus 30 for the choice band plus Shrine of Punishment. But if you've got Shrine of Punishment out, then your opponent's got a Zoroark with 10 damage remaining, which basically gives them two choices. Either they play a Field Blower to get rid of your Shrine of Punishment, but that's not a great choice, because next turn you can drop a Shrine of Punishment, and you popping down a stadium will get you 2 prizes at the end of your turn. Or they can use something like an Ace Roller to completely heal that Zoroark, which they might not want to do. They might not have another Zorua on the bench ready to evolve up, but it doesn't matter, because they will be giving up 2 prizes. And all of this is for 1 fairy energy. It's great! Now, there is a fairly significant catch. And the fairly significant catch is this. You got to have 0 cards in hand. That's doable, ladies and gentlemen. That's doable. Now, one of the giant downsides initially with this is, well, hang on a second. What about what you do after that? Because, okay, you get a KO, but you got 0 cards in hand. Well, the answer to that is very, very simple. Play Pokemon. Play an Oranguru, which lets you draw until you got 3 cards in hand. So you draw 1 or 2 cards with Granbull, and then you draw a card at the beginning of your turn, and then you play any ones you can, then you draw with Oranguru. And then by the time this comes out, we're going to have Zeb Striker. And the great thing about Zeb Striker is you get to, once during your turn, discard your hand and draw 4 cards. So play that. And then if you use your Oranguru and you still don't have anything good, just play a Zeb Striker. So I don't mind having no cards in hand. Now, don't get me wrong, having no cards in hand sucks. You have got to prepare. You can't just throw all your cards away willy-nilly. But you can absolutely prepare for this beautifully. And Oranguru and Zeb Striker is the way you do it. And in the format we're going into, yes, Alolan Muck will turn off Oranguru, but the only thing that's turning off Zeb Striker is a slacking in the active, which you're 1-hit KOing for a single energy as a stage 1, when they're going to have to use 3 energy on a stage 2 to KO you back. I'm fine with that prize exchange. Now, the only question really remaining for this, how do you actually get 0 cards in hand? And the answer is very simple. You need to play an aggressive deck where you can play all the cards. That means you don't play too many energy. Because if you play too many energy, then you could clog them up in your hand. You can only attach 1 per turn. It means you don't play that many supporters, because supporters end up getting clogged in your hand. And it means you go aggressive with stuff like items. So you play stuff like Order Pad that you can just fail. You play stuff like Acrobike, where you look at 2 cards and you choose 1, and you can just choose the one that you can play. You can make a very fast item-focused deck here, where you can just play all of the cards. And yeah, there are downsides to playing an item-focused deck, but the biggest downside is Garbodor. Well, you're 1-hit KOing Garbodor for 1 energy. So it doesn't really matter if they're 1-hit KOing you for 1 energy. Just, get the first KO. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing in the world to pull off, but I am saying that having no cards in hand is fine with cards like Oranguru and Zeb Striker in the format, and you can build your deck to play all the cards in your hand. Sure, there'll be those turns you end up with 2 supporters in hand, and that's going to suck. And yeah, there'll be those turns when you have multiple energy in hand. But just play a bunch of stuff like Ultra Ball that lets you discard the stuff you don't want so you can save the stuff that you do. I think this is an attack that you can get working. Now, as for the second attack, 3 Fairy Energy 110, I mean, look, if you're hitting for weakness, it'll KO something like a Rayquaza, but let me be super clear about this. If you are going to play a Fairy Pokemon to put 3 Fairy Energy on, play Xerneas Prism Star. It's a basic with a better attack and a nice ability. There is no excuse for playing Granbull for the second attack. Now, if you are playing Granbull anyway, then yeah, maybe your one in the active's got 1 energy on, but you do build up 1 on the bench just in case you don't have 0 cards in hand. But you don't play it for the second attack. Nice bonus, but you don't play it for the second attack. You play it for the first attack. And I'm actually going to give Granbull between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. And we don't pretend that this is ever going to happen again. I don't ever expect to see a better Granbull than this. If you're a fan of the Pokemon Granbull, grab this with both hands. Enjoy it. Never let go. Because Granbull cards are always terrible. But I really do think someone is going to make this work. And I really do think this is a viable deck. And yeah, there'll be plenty of times where you're just not able to get the cards out of your hand. But there'll be plenty of times you're sitting there with a decent HP and a fairly nice weakness, hitting 160 for a single energy. Tell me that's not at least worth a test. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching, for maybe the last time, a video about Granbull on PTCG Radio.